Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing on today? I am super duper excited because I have Piper Hurley hanging out with it. Y'all, okay, first of all, y'all already know how I feel about Piper Hughley, okay? And she is hanging out with us today because guess what, guys? Today is today. American Daughters is live and in color. I have a print copy. Look, I have my ebook copy, all of that good stuff as well. So thank you guys so much for joining us on today. You know what to do. Like, tag, and share. Tell a friend to come on down to the cafe because we are celebrating Piper Hughley on today and her new release, American Daughters. And of course, Piper, it is your time, my friend, to introduce yourself to the people.
Hi, I'm Piper Huguley, and I write historical fiction. And this is my second historical fiction book with William Morrow. And I don't know. That's it. I don't have anything else to say.
Yo, and notice she said this is her second historical fiction with William Morrow. And if you guys know anything about me, she's talking about by her own design. You guys already know it is the longest book hangover I have had because I am still in a book hangover and I still tell everybody. I tell a
Oh, I
friend to tell a
appreciate it.
friend about by her own design. Piper, I'm still talking about Miss Ann Lowe, okay?
I appreciate that. We have to keep spreading the word about Genius and Low. Definitely beyond February, March. Read now. It's
Exactly,
Black Women History
exactly.
Month in April. Let's keep doing it. She was so
I love it.
awesome.
I love it. Hello, Dahlia. Thank you so much for joining us. We have Myra Cook that is hanging out with us on today. Thank you so much. We have Tiffany Jones of Tiff's Happy Place
Hi,
hanging out with us.
Tiffany.
And Piper. Okay, Myra with me. She said she too. She too is still talking about by her own design. We have Antoinette Gates hanging out with us
Hi,
on today as well, guys.
Antoinette.
Thank you
Hi,
so much. Now, today, guys, it's a special day. It is release day of Piper Hughley, American Daughters, guys. It is live and in color. And Piper, you know I'm excited. I'm excited for you. And I want for you to share and spill a little bit of tea because you already know Piper. You know I love a cover. And when you authors, y'all do these cover reveals, I just get so excited. I'm like, oh my goodness. Piper, please tell us about this gorgeous cover, my friend.
Oh, girl, I didn't have anything to do with that. Let me. Yeah, thank you, Dahlia. No, the cover this time that was all the marketing team, and
Okay.
yeah, they were the ones who had the concept and did it. It was a much shorter process this time than with by her own design, which was the time where I had a time with that cover, but this cover was much easier in terms of they seemed to get it a little quicker. In terms of,
Gotcha.
yeah, what was needed to be done in terms of that. So I think the only thing that I had put in or whatever was the red pop of the title font with Alice's shawl. I think that was the only thing.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and Dahlia is giving you cover love. She said a beautiful cover.
Thank
Antoinette
you.
is telling you congratulations for
Thank you.
release
Yeah, I
day
appreciate
as well. We have Waletta Dunn hanging out with us. Thank you so much, Waletta, for joining us on today. And
it.
she also is saying happy release day to
Thank
you,
you.
Piper, as well. Now, Piper, okay, you know I love a title.
Yes.
Tell us about this title, and I want you to spill a little bit of tea. So, American Daughters, was this Piper's original working title, or the title came later? Spill a little tea.
Once again, when you sign the contract with these people, they gonna take your child and they gonna do what they gonna do. That was their title. No, my working title was Portia and Alice. Yeah, so
Look, look, Piper. That's one of those. I'm writing. I'm getting my word count. We gonna keep it simple.
that's it. That was all that was, which was a step up from my home design because that did not even have a working title when I was writing it. So
well, Piper, let me just tell you, great combination. American Daughters,
Yes,
we
it
love the
worked out.
cover as well, so it worked.
Yes, it worked
So
out.
y'all got a little bit of tea, okay? Her working title was Portia and Alice, okay? And
Yes.
then we got now American Daughters, and we have this beautiful cover. I love that. Veronica is saying good evening, and she's also telling you happy
Hi,
release day as
Marcus.
well.
Thank
We
you.
have author Sharon Blunt hanging out with us as
Hi,
well.
Sharon.
Guys, if you are just joining us, we are celebrating on today. Y'all know we like to celebrate here at the cafe. It
Yes.
is Piper Huguley's book of birthday, guys. American Daughters is available. And of course, we will be sharing with you how you can get your hands on a copy of this amazing, amazing story. Now, Piper, can you share a little bit with us? Because this is not like your first rodeo when it comes to historical fiction. You have some historical romance, all that good stuff as well. But would Piper say historical fiction found her or she found it? And you may have to go back some years.
Well, it was always my intent to write these stories. I started out with the historical romance series to sort of lay a foundation for me as a historical writer. And those titles with my two series, the Migrations of the Heart series and the Home to Milford College series, did what I intended to do, which was to sort of establish me as someone where writing about unsung, unknown history in terms of that. But it was always my intention to enter into the landscape of biographical historical fiction to write about unsung, unheralded Black women. And then I knew that once I did a certain thing with the series, whatever that I had planted a stake, Parker, planted a stake into the ground in that way, and that I would move on to this, what I call 2.0.
Wow, I love that. I love that. Now, Piper, we interested to know what inspired this story about these two friends, Portia and Alice. What inspired this story?
Well, one of my long-term research interests has always been interracial female friendships, and I had always looked at other um, stories that existed in the world, but it always seemed as if they came from white authors and not Black authors. And I always had that question in terms of why was that? That overlapped with the research I had been doing in regards to Booker T. Washington and his family. And so Portia was always someone who had interested me because she was a musician. She did a certain kind of thing with the music that she did, both on with classical music. Hi, Mama Tony. Classical music, as well as the spirituals, which I
Oh,
came
wow.
to and understand from my father, who was also a scholar of the spirituals. And so she was someone who was very invested early on in terms of passing those songs along, maintaining them, and letting people know what they were, especially after her landmark opportunity when she was a young woman to study in Europe. And she discovered then, as well as other classical musicians who had gone abroad, had discovered that the European composers and masters were really very enamored of that music, that all of that music that we don't know who wrote those songs. They just got handed down to us, or whatever. But European, like the German musicians, all of the classical musicians are always talking about, wow, what amazing music that was. So when she returned from being abroad, it really became part of what she had sought to do in terms of uplifting it and keeping it going. So as someone who's been, like I said, my father was a scholar of that music. There was a family group that sang the music around our hometown. It wasn't me. So this is the only contribution that I could make.
I love that. Look, and
That was
Mama
not
Tony is telling
fair,
you
but
that she enjoyed the book, Piper. She said that she
yes,
enjoyed
thank
the
you
book.
so much.
And
I
look,
appreciate
Parker
you
J.
enjoying
Cole is giving you love. She said, I always feel smarter when Professor Hughley speaks. I'm
it.
going to
She's
get a
so
new wrinkle on
crazy.
my brain.
She is so crazy.
And one thing that I love about your writing, Piper, is that again, you write in such a way, and this kind of goes alongside with what Parker J. Cole is saying, is like you want to find out more, like you want to go research, and
Mhm.
that's one of the things that I love about historical fiction, and that's one of the ones where I know that a book has gotten me intrigued when I'm like, okay, what else can I find out about it? I was like, okay, Piper
Mhm.
has, she set the tone, she set the stage. What else can I find out? What else can I find out? And I love that about your writing as well as historical fiction as well. We have Juliet Tomlinson hanging out with us today. Thank you,
Mhm.
Juliet, for joining us on today as well. Now, Piper, when you think about this story of these two friends or what have you, um, for this, can you share a little bit more in detail? And you told us just a little bit. What was that once you decided that this was the story that you was going to tell? What was that research like for you?
Well, this was the other interesting thing. In terms of as much as I knew about Portia and I'd been reading her biographies, there were like these little mentions, I call that, of her friendship with Alice Roosevelt Longworth. And then I looked at her obituary and it was mentioned there as well. So then I
Okay.
go and I start looking at Alice's stuff, of which there's a lot more of that, right?
Okay.
And in the most comprehensive biography of hers, there's one mention. And there's other historical fiction books about Alice, but no mentions of that. So it's almost like this time, in terms of the history, I had these like two tent poles and having to fill in all of this middle part in terms of how long they
Wow.
had been friends, particularly in the wake of their fathers when they first met in 1901, when poor TR, he was just new president after after McKinley had been assassinated. He didn't know that you're not supposed to invite black men to the White House to have dinner. So, but he went ahead and did that, and
Uh-huh.
the country lost its collective mind over it. There's an entire book about that incident called Guest of Honor by Deborah Davis. So her book as well also made me realize how much these two young statesmen had in common, and that they were probably at that dinner, probably holding their heads like, what are we going to do about these crazy teenage eldest daughters that we have that are
Right.
driving us nuts, in terms of, and they met
And
a
we
week later.
have
So,
Hey, Rhonda, thank you so much for joining us. We also have Pamela Nance Johnson hanging out with us. Thank you so much for joining us as well. Now, Piper, think about these two young ladies, Portia and Alice. And if you had to describe Alice to us, how would you describe her?
well, everybody, when they think of Alice Roosevelt Longworth, she was like the feisty eldest daughter of the president. And at one point, she had understood that she was celebrity before there was real celebrity in the country, because you didn't have movies
Wow.
and stuff yet in 1901. So,
Hmm.
I mean, to the point, there were songs written about her. She had a color, and everybody would wear dresses in what were called Alice blue dresses.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, very extremely popular, but also driving her father crazy, because he very famously said, I could either run the country or I could control Alice, but I cannot possibly do both at the same time.
Wow.
And then the other famous incident, of course, was when she was smoking, which, back then, I did one, I was like, a big no, right? Like,
Right.
smoking. And her father told her, I will not have smoking under my roof. And so she goes up onto the roof of the White House to smoke instead, you know, stuff like that. She carried a little snake with her in her purse, to keep people like at arm's length.
Look,
So
Piper sounds like quite the rebel.
yes, she was quite the rebel, but this was all my question was like, why? It was like a
Yeah.
lot of other books. Just everybody just was, oh, she was such a rebel and so feisty, and she was a warty and bad girl. That's very much what she was. Another famous quote of hers was like, if you don't have something nice to say about someone, come and sit by me.
I love it.
So yeah, and so
Wow.
many people were focused on all the feistiness and stuff, but I was thinking, why is it?
Why?
Yeah, her mother dying when she's 2 days old. Her mother and her grandmother dying when she's
Wow.
2 days old. On the same day, when Theodore Roosevelt had to be summoned out of the assembly up in New York and Buffalo to come home on the train. And he gets home and his brother opens the door and says, there is a curse on this house because his mother and his wife he had to go back and forth up and down the steps
Yeah.
between the two of them as they were both dying. So Alice, who is named for her mother, like, why would you do that? Like, is like abandoned by her mother, by this
Wow.
particularly influential grandmother, by her father, and it's like kind of left with this aunt to fend for herself in the world. And the only other person who understood that was Portia, whose mother died when she was 11 months old.
Wow.
And yeah, they both had in common this thing that I call between them the ghost mothers,
Wow.
Which is something that would hang heavily over a young woman of this time period when the number one thing you're supposed to do is marry and have children. Well, why would you want to do that when your mother, that's what she died of?
Wow.
So,
Wow.
Yeah, it would make perfect sense for them to be friends apart from the racial thing.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of Portia, how would you describe her to us?
Portia was a young woman, like I said, who was very determined to be able to study her music. She had a clear purpose and vocation in her life from the get-go, and she knew that, yes, she was a relatively privileged young woman, privileged daughter of a highly known person in the United States, the Martin Luther King of his day aspect. But she did not feel that his expectations in terms of, that's so cool, the Roosevelt building, that the expectations of her as a young Black woman should deter her from having a vocation, having a passion for the music. And her father believed that too. It's the thing where, between the two of them, yeah, she was better off being who she was because she was allowed to pursue that passion and that vocation for what she wanted to do with her life, with her talents, her intellect, not having her stuff be in support of some man, which was what the expectation was then.
Mm-hmm.
Alice knew that the expectation for her was to find somebody at least nearly as highly ranking as her father and wealthy and marry him.
Uh-huh.
That was it. But she was an incredibly talented politico who, if she had been born now, she would be one of these people who would either be running a campaign or she'd be on the news channels as a political pundit, something like that. That was what her talent was, but she was not permitted to openly pursue that.
Wow. Guys, if you are just joining us, we are hanging out with the one and only award-winning author, Piper Huguley. Guys, today is her day. It's her book, Birthday, American Daughters. It is live and in color. we will be sharing with you how you can get your hands on a copy of this amazing story of these two friends. And I know, Piper, do you have a little snippet you're going to share with us? Because you know they on the edge of their seats. So you have just a
I,
little bit
I can share a little
to share with us.
snippet, I guess. Just like I say, here's my
Just
copy.
a little bit, Piper, just a little bit.
I had the meeting in the lobby. As I said, the week after their fathers met, they had another. She'd be the head of the few. Yes, she probably talking about people like a dog, no doubt. Yeah. Um, in the lobby of the Yale building where their fathers were both due to give speeches, but Portia's not feeling that well, and so she throws up on the roots of one of these big potted plants that's in the lobby, and Alice comes upon her. She says, "What did the poor palm plant ever do to deserve that fate, Miss Washington?" Her impossibly blue eyes were merry, but I gulped. The poor plant certainly did not deserve that fate. She covered her mouth with a gloved hand, laughing a little, and produced a delicate hanky, holding it out to me. I did not want to take it. It did not look as if it were purposeful, but I took it anyway, dabbing at my mouth. She stared at me, then made a beckoning gesture. "Come with me. I'll take you to my room. You need to recover from your episode." I shook my head no. "I'll be fine. Thank you anyway." I looked down at the hanky in my hand inscribed with the initials ALR. ALR? She shook her head too. "No, you don't understand. Father told me to come look for you. I'm Alice, Alice Roosevelt. Your father told my father about you and I came to find you. Come on." This young woman was the president's daughter. "Come away from that poor plant. You don't want to be around when it keels over and dies." In spite of myself, I laughed, and she did too. I stood to follow her, the president's daughter. I held out the hanky, and she waved a hand. I have many others. "Alice, I thought the president's daughter was named Ethel." I came around from the far side of the potted plants, and she came around on the other and met me in front of the forest. There, Alice straight. "She is. Ethel is my younger sister. I mean, all the bunnies are my younger siblings, but I came first from father's first marriage, which is why people forget to mention me. I'm the unwelcome extra." I turned to her, and in that instant, a web of connection knit itself between us. I knew what that was like as a fellow unwelcome extra. As did I. I came first from my father's first marriage, too. "Well, isn't that something? I bet you've never heard of me because my father didn't mention you to me. I wasn't at the White House when your father was there, no matter what those horrid cartoonists drew. I've been with my other family, sort of on a vacation." Alice knew what had happened. She must keep up with the news, which was really intriguing. Women didn't, or we weren't supposed to care about such things. Still, something about what she said made me wonder because it was October. Didn't the first family move into the president's house just last month? Her shoulders slumped. Okay, I admit it. I was banished."
Okay, Piper. Wow. Okay, you know I'm on the edge of my seat. I'm sure the viewers are on the edge of their seats too, wanting more. But as y'all can see, Piper is a wordsmith. I mean, whenever you're reading a Piper Huguley book, I mean, unwelcome extra. I mean, can you just feel that a person they were like they are an unwelcome extra? Okay. Oh my goodness, I love it. I love it. Dahlia is saying that it sounds very interesting. Parker J. Cole is saying that it's so good as well. And guys, of course, we'll be sharing with you how you can get your hands on a copy of the American Daughters. In addition to that, you may hear a little bit more about She Was Banished. Okay.
Well, that's like the crazy thing about all of after their fathers had the dinner and the cartoonists went wild drawing cartoons of Booker T having his hands up Alice's skirt and stuff, and she wasn't even there. It was just crazy. That's what she was like. What? I'm not even there. I was banished because my parents didn't want me to bring me down yet because they know I'm a handful. But I'm like, it always been like, how would that make her feel? And this
Yeah.
whole acting out things, always like about, notice me, look at me. TR never
Yeah.
even called her Alice. He didn't even
Wow.
use a name because he never invoked the name of that first wife after that. Because the other
Wow.
TR was supposed to marry the stepmother. And he went to Harvard to school away from her because she was the Edith Roosevelt. She was the friend of his sister. So before he went to Harvard for college, he had had an understanding with Edith. But then he went to Harvard and fell in love with the sister of one of his classmates, who was Alice Lee. And he
Woo. Okay,
married.
y'all. Piper spill a little bit of tea. Okay, I said Piper spill as much tea as you want to. So Piper is giving y'all the tea. Okay, look. And Piper Tiffany said, "Love the tea. Love the tea, Piper. Love the tea."
All of that tension. It's like, oh my gosh. So he marries Alice Lee. They're married for a couple of years, and she has the baby and dies. He runs off to the West because he's bereft of what has happened with both his mother and his wife or whatever. And it's like a year and some later, he comes back, and guess who's waiting right there? Edith.
Mhm.
So he gets back together with Edith and starts this new family. And of course, every time Edith is looking at Alice, she's like, that's the heifer get who I
Look,
got
Piper. See, if I had my teacup, that would be a sip with the pinky out. That would be a sip. Okay, a sip of tea.
always had tension between the two of them because
Wow.
his mother.
Wow. Guys,
That ghost
if you
that's
are
like this.
just joining us, we are celebrating with Piper on today. Her new release, American Daughters, it is live and in color. And of course, after the tea spilling that Piper is giving us on today, I am sure you want to tell a friend, even grab a buddy and do a buddy read as well about this new story, American Daughters. And we will be sharing with you in just a moment how you can get your hands on a copy of this story. Now, Piper, of course, my friend, you know we have to play a round of this or that, but I promise you, there is no
Yep.
right or wrong answer because it is all things according to Piper Huguley on today. Are you ready, my friend?
I'm ready. I'm ready. I'll do my
All
best.
right, Piper, are you a morning person? Look, Professor Piper Hughley, are you a morning person or evening person? Night owl.
Morning,
Morning.
definitely morning. Always have been.
So, Piper, are you trying to tell us that the early morning classes is your favorite?
I would always get the 8 a.m. classes. They would always be giving them to me. Even though the pandemic like affected that a little bit, it did change like but they were like, yeah, shoot, give her yeah, let me get on early and get out.
Give her the early morning class.
That's right.
I love it. I love it. Now, a Piper, are you glass half full or glass half empty?
Class half empty.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Piper, is it one day or day one?
Oh, say that again. You were breaking up a
Is
bit.
it day one or one day?
One day.
One day. Okay. Now, Piper, I'm not sure if you know, but today is National Peanut Butter and Jelly Day. Okay. Now,
Okay.
peanut butter and jelly day. It's Piper Hughley. Are you team crunchy peanut butter or team smooth? Crunchy or smooth?
I've been smooth all of my life, but you remember during the pandemic, like you had a hard time getting peanut butter, and so it was crunchy. I could see the point to crunchy, but I'm still team smooth.
You still team smooth. I love it. I love it. And of course, Piper, we have to know, my friend, here at the cafe, are you team tea or are you team coffee?
Coffee, child. Coffee all the way.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for playing around that. Now, Piper, I want to ask you this because, again, we just finished with Women's History Month. And this amazing story about these two friends, Alice and Portia, is out on today. For you, why is it so important for us to get these women, these stories of women, this historical fiction of these women? Why is it so important to get these stories out there and told?
Well, we've been taught a very narrow perception of what is history through the lens of certain people, mostly moneyed white men.
Mhm.
We must have a more complete picture of the history. And historical fiction permits us to begin to look at whose history is not part of the entire and complete narrative.
Mhm.
So that's why, I feel like it's important for us to know these stories of these unheralded, unknown, unsung women who had done great things, but for many reasons didn't get their stories passed down
Mm.
to us through history. They have lessons to teach us. I think both Portia and Alice do, and Portia in terms of pursuing your passion, whatever. And Alice's story is more along the lines of what happens when you don't pursue your passion. Where does that energy go in terms of that, and as well as us becoming, finding what is common, what we have in common with one another, sitting down and talking about those kinds of things. Can help us. So their example, which lasted some, 77 years until Portia's death, I think has a lot to tell us now.
Wow. Wow. Thank you for sharing that with us as well. Now, think about this story that you have brought to life. It is now live and in color. What do you want readers to take away from American Daughters?
Yes, I said just that. As I said in the dedication, I think sometimes still, even in 2024, women often feel inhibited to do certain things. All of this stuff that we're always talking about in terms of imposter syndrome, fear, all of these things. I think part what we need to do is to just do these things. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, that's my whole thing in terms of thinking about just do these things. Even though, like I said, their historical example was they were stymied by the perceptions of what is it that good women are supposed to do. Be a good
Mhm.
daughter in terms of these statesmen. Don't embarrass your fathers out here in these streets. And then who are you going to find to marry that could possibly measure up to daddy? And once you're up under their auspices, you can't show out in terms of them. Be about yourself and do what you need to do for yourself. That would be the main thing. Which would be
Wow. Thank you so
your
much for
neighbor.
sharing that.
Yeah, yeah, and it's so funny how it does have that in common with By Her Own Design. Actually, it's still a thing, I think, in terms of a woman's passion, a woman's labor, the things she can do in terms of
Mhm.
this.
Yes.
Or what
Yes.
happens when she
Well,
doesn't.
Piper, thank you
Mm-hmm.
so much for hanging out with us. Of course, the time goes by so fast. And guys, we do have a giveaway. Before we share with you how you can get your hands on a copy of American Daughters, I'm going to let Piper share with us what her giveaway is going to be on this evening.
Oh, yeah, I'm giving away a copy, and let me know.
I love it. Well, Piper, I'm going to get you to help me, my friend. I'm going to go up and down the comment section.
Yeah,
You're going to tell
take
me
it.
when to stop, and that
Okay.
person gets a copy of American Daughters.
Yes, that's what
All
we'll
right.
do. Right.
So exciting. Okay,
Yay!
let's go. Okay, Piper, I am going whenever you tell me to stop.
Okay. Stop. Sorry.
Dahlia, and she is half full. Dahlia, you are the winner of a copy of American Daughters,
Yay!
my friend. If you will inbox me your information, I will get that to Piper Hughley so you can get your copy of American Daughters. Thank you so
Yes,
much for joining us on
indeed.
today. Congratulations.
I hope you
Yay.
enjoy.
Yes, yes. Well, Piper, and now for the moment that they have been waiting for. One of the moments that they have been waiting for is how can they get a copy of American Daughters? And of course, I do want you to know that indie bookstore Riches and Reading, she
Yes, I'm
does
about to say.
have copies of
Yes,
American
I
Daughters.
know
So
she
I will be
does.
putting
Yay.
the Riches and Reading
Yes.
link in the comment section so you guys can
Great,
order from there. And
great.
then I will
Yes.
allow Piper to tell us other places where we can get American Daughters.
Yes, please patronize Pictures and Reading. If you're here in Atlanta, 44th and the 3rd, we'll have copies as well. Any other bookstore, Barnes and Nobles, Amazon, whatever, in terms of those entities. And I hope when I travel, I hope I'll be seen at the airport. It's always fun.
Yes, I love that. So, guys, definitely be sure to tell a friend to tell a friend. It's available where books are sold. It's
Yes.
available in a print copy. It's also available in ebook form. So, whichever suits your fancy as well. And of course, if you see it out in the wild, definitely take a picture, tag
Please
Piper,
do.
tell a friend to tell a friend, all that good stuff. And be sure to leave your review. I know that Piper Hughley will be so appreciative of that as well. And of course, Piper, you have to share with us, my friend, how can we stay connected with you?
Well, everybody knows I'm the baddest on Twitter, which is what it's called. At Piper Hughley, Piper G Hughley on Facebook, and Piper_Hughley on Instagram.
Oh my goodness. I love it. I love it. And Veronica is saying, great chat. Have a wonderful night, ladies, and stay safe. Thank you, Veronica.
Thank
You
you,
too,
Monica.
my
Thank
friend,
you.
as well. So, guys, make
Thank you.
sure that you are following Piper Hughley. And Piper, is there a website or a newsletter that they can go to?
Oh, right. Yeah, piperhughley.com is my website that I need to update with my new release.
I love it. So, guys, stay connected with Piper Hughley and make sure you get a copy of American Daughters. Make sure to help us to spread the word.
Thank
Tell a
you.
friend to tell a friend about this amazing story as well. And Piper, it has been amazing hanging out with you on today. Guys, of course, you can say follow me on my YouTube channel, which is Angela Anderson's YouTube, or subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can follow me on Facebook or Instagram, Angela Anderson Presents as well. And Piper, before we leave, my friend, I want to allow you to have the last words of what you want to say to the people.
What I want to say to the people is what you've been saying. Please support and spread the word. I so appreciate it. Let's keep reading, going and happening, and discussing these issues about women. I think women are the ones who have the key to solving what's going on if we will do it. That's what I believe.
I love it. Thank you so much, Piper, as well, guys. Go out and get a copy of American Daughters. And that's our show on today. We have celebrated with a Piper Hughley on today, the least day. Oh my goodness. And guys, as we always say, have an amazing day because we're having an amazing day. And until next time, we'll see you later. Get a copy of American Daughters. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.